Hey, what's up, guys? Frugal BC here, coming out to another show. Sorry for the delay. Had just slight technical difficulties, but we're all good. And one of the technical difficulties I think I've solved is that I think I figured out the whole issue with my camera. I figured out how to put it on manual setting in a way that will, and then it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to adjust when once you got it set up. But we got it good to go. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, Jackson Crawford here saying go Algo. Welcome to the show. Got a few different I know what I didn't do. So I'm running just a little bit behind. So I gotta set some things up. I forgot to put some tags in. I think I can still do that. Got just kind of a random smattering of things we're gonna talk about. Some really good stuff though, some really interesting things. We're just about to see if I can do this stuff on the fly. I think I can. They say tags don't really matter that much, and I think I don't think that's true. Uh, 3 so I'm gonna throw a bunch of stuff in there. How's everyone doing today? We got Everyday Algonaut saying good morning. Welcome to the show, Everyday Algonaut. Hello, bro. Welcome, wah wah wah. Jose Oswaldo Duran Marquez says, Algorand, welcome to the show. He says, Algorand at $2 at the end of the year. Maybe. And he says, Saludos desde Mexico. Wawa says, when do you want to sell your algo? It's really complicated because I have most of my algo is actually put to work. It's actually in the I've actually a good chunk of it is in Tiny Man, a bunch more is in Lofty. So like I don't really have a lot of loose Algorand that's just sitting around waiting to be sold. But if I were gonna sell it, my average buy-in is around 20 cents. So if it gets up to $2, that's a good 10x. That'd be a nice time to take some profits. And I'd probably take some profits on the way up. That's kind of what I do with most of my coins. So I took some profit with Hedera this week, and that did pretty well. That was nice. So I had a what I do is I set limit orders. So on the way up, I think like what's a good, I might set it at first at 2x and then at 4x, something like that. It kind of depends on the coin, how much it is. So I have a bunch of limit orders set. Really, right now we're like really far from any of those limits being hit. But I just instead of like trying to like look at it every day and say, oh, is it going to be up to this amount? Is it not? I just set the amount, set a limit order in Coinbase, and when it hits that peak, I just sell off. But let me pull this. Oh, we have it. I just have it set to Hedera. Let's go back and look at the charts. Oops, to put it. There we go. I always have to set that up. Oops, we'll get to that. All right. Yeah, so Bitcoin, we're actually down on the week, starting to pop back up in the last hour or so, but been hovering around the 62 to $64,000 range. Same with Ethereum, just kind of sitting, it's doing a little bit better on the week, but overall just kind of sitting around that 3,000 to 3,200 number. Yeah, Solana's popped back up a little. It's just sitting in the 130s for a while there, so and everything's just down a little, flat or down is what we're looking at overall, except for Chainlink, which is actually up on the week, and Internet Computer Protocol doing really well. And this looks a little. I swear we were close to this. We were actually. It was. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say that didn't seem right. Yeah, 750 for Near Protocol. That's pretty good. of 20. So this is a little bit of an outlier, as well as Tron. Okay, Chainlink was sometimes coin market cap is really slow to update. And so Chainlink actually isn't up, it's actually down, but Tron is up a little bit. And this is a really nice percentage up from your protocol. It's very interesting that we're seeing a lot of divergence actually. Normally when you look at these charts on the side, and you have to kind of ignore the dollar, the stable coins, because they're always going to be kind of the same prices. The just charts just look different, but the rest of them, we just see a lot of fluctuation that we don't normally see. So this is very interesting. Just seeing if anything else either had a huge weekly. Yeah, so Hedera is still up 20, almost 26% on the week. I don't know how many of you guys saw our Hedera video, but people were like really mad because Hedera Foundation announced that they had worked in conjunction with Archax, which is a platform for on Hedera, and with BlackRock, and they were tokenizing one of their funds. So we called it a partnership. I guess some people really have very specific things they think of when they think of partnership. To me, Hedera was quite clear, and this was approved by BlackRock. BlackRock, by the way, they said that they were working with BlackRock. To me, that's a partnership. A partnership in my opinion, doesn't necessarily have to mean a financial arrangement, although it can. But people really, Cointelegraph made this big thing about how all us influencers were lying about it. I think it's BS. I just don't see how that's not a partnership. If they had done it without BlackRock really knowing much about it, then I would say calling it a partnership is BS. But they didn't. BlackRock isn't working with other people, as far as I know, to tokenize their money market fund. So I just don't see how that's not a partnership. But people freaked out. We could look at this. Daily chart's not going to show it to you, but just a fair warning, by the way. It might be a little low energy today, and I apologize. Wait, why is it so hard for me to just find 7-day? Yes, I mean we peaked at about 18 cents. I had a limit order of about 15, and I put one in at 25. So it's probably going to be a while before I hit that 25. In fact, it might be worth buying back in so I can hit another limit order. But so we had this big spike up, but we felt, for Hedera, it fell off. It's still, up on the week for sure. 25%. That's not a bad weekly gain. Not bad at all. So even if it crashed, I think this is more of people selling though. When you have a huge spike up like this, people sell off. Now that might have the news, and then the pushback to the news might have pushed these prices down a little bit too. It might have added even more sell pressure. But I think you're normally going to see this. Although I have heard people, what happens when you have a huge price spike is people FOMO in. It's like the dumbest thing they can do, but they do it. Because someone even commented on my channel. They're like, I almost FOMO'd in, but then I read Cointelegraph's article or something, and I'm like, well, listen, that was a bad idea anyway. I think is what I told them. I was like, we shouldn't FOMO in when the prices are rising. That's the worst time. That's when things are going up. You should have already made your buy by then. Now is not really the time to buy, although you could say with the pullback it is. But I mean, during the bear market, when everyone's like down on crypto, that's when you should be like building your bags, in my opinion. Anyway, that's the Hedera drama, the dramedy that is crypto life sometimes. Cosmos really fallen too. I'm just seeing if anything else is interesting here. The graph breaking the trends up on the week. Wait, no, it isn't. See, problem is these things take so long to refresh. Now this core has gone up to 49. Pepe, of course, up 25% as well, but this core is up and into the top 50 now. And it's always a crapshoot. How far down am I gonna have to go to algo? I got Sui here. Yeah, Sui's only $1.20. Sui hasn't done so well this week. I love Sui. People get mad at me. People aren't big fans of Sui, but I think it's great. I don't care. I don't care if like the founders are former Facebook people. Like everyone has to work somewhere. So like they were. I mean, I just don't. That to me doesn't like isn't like fundamentally a bad sign. Yeah. So here's Algorand up, still up 4%. I mean, it's been sitting around 20 cents, and considering how much other stuff has fallen, I don't think you can complain about that too much. I mean, of course, that's we'd rather be somewhere else right now. We'd rather be maybe at 25 or 26 cents, but Athena, I haven't even heard of that. It's amazing how much during the bear market, the top 100 was pretty stable overall. You just didn't see a lot of new stuff. But then what happens when you start entering bull territories? All these coins start popping up. Jupiter, it's been there a few weeks, but that wasn't in the top 100 like a few couple months ago. This Pendle, I don't even know. Athena, I mean, I don't even know what some of these are. And I'm not gonna like it sounds bad, but I'm not gonna take the time to learn all these coins. The way I see it, a coin has to get my attention, not vice versa. Yeah, this one Bonk is up 44%. I just want to kind of round up the top 100 here. Ronin at 17 down. The Sandbox, it's interesting. WorldCoin, I thought this went away. Everyone was like freaking out about WorldCoin, but there it is. I actually did a I forgot I'd forgotten. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago, but I'd forgotten I had done a video on WorldCoin and um wasn't that the thing where you like they have these weird orbs where you like scan your iris and get crypto or something weird? Tezos, yeah. Tezos and Algorand. We're going to talk about this later. This is one of our topics for the day. Tezos and Algorand were both named as zombie chains, and I think that's insane. But we'll talk about that. Yeah, Pyth. I just think Pyth network is where Python should have. That should have been like the first coin to to be fully Python. It just kind of fits the theme there, right? Starknet. Mina doing okay on the 24-hour at least. I actually took some profit in Meta, but I bought back in, and so I'm kind of at even. Not really. I think the only thing I'm moonbag on right now is Solana. I think Axelar. I haven't heard that. It's AIOZ network. I don't know what that is. Nervos network. How many? There does come a point where you wonder, like, how many of these do we really need, right? Um, let's look at Vestige. Oh, wow. RL, thanks for the super chat, man. I'll go nuts. That's the biggest super chat I've ever gotten. So thank you. Thank you, RL. I appreciate that. I'll leave that up for a little while. Yeah, you can see we had a pretty big spike up. Is that in the way? I'm gonna leave it up just for a little bit, okay, guys? Because that's really cool. Yeah, you can see we spiked not that long ago. This was like April 24th. We were at like 24 cents, and then we just crashed right back down. But we've been kind of like, kind of steady around 20 cents, where a lot of other stuff has been dropping more, like around here. So we've been kind of coming down, though. But I'm really hoping this is the pullback before the bull run. Um, and yeah, why don't we, before we do that, why don't we just want to look what's going on here. We got There's always new ones. And Nico's here. It's down 12% though. It's very popular. So you can get Nico by playing Yomo, the Bork Bork arcade. I don't know what you actually call it. It's fun though. I bought one of those little Bork Borks. I think it's like, I don't know, was it like $15 for one of those NFTs? And then you can play in the Yomo arcade. You can play once every 4 hours. In fact, I wonder if I can find it. So I can't log in on this one. Well, I could, I suppose I could get my phone out and everything. But so if you buy a Bork Bork or a Zerker on XRP, this allows you to play, and you can play for like once every 4 hours. And let's see, are they going to show the? Oh, they got merch too. You have to buy like a hoodie or something. That's cool. Yomo, I talked with Yomo a bit on Twitter. I think I like dogs, so I kind of like the little Bork Borks NFTs, and then they're pretty fun. They're kind of like retro games, which is what they say, retro arcade. They're supposed to be coming out with a new game soon too, so that's kind of cool. We'll look at the merch some other time. Look at this Poker Golds. Okay, so chips, that's part of the Algo Casino, which I think I've kind of talked about. They seem to be doing pretty well. I think it's kind of cool that you can buy one of their NFTs and then basically earn alongside the house. I mean, that's a pretty cool idea. Um, I don't cover it much just because I'm not like a big gambling guy. I don't necessarily want to promote gambling on the channel. If you want to do it, that's up to you. DeFi token is number 2, and then Polka Gold. So yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. This is now third. Remember, this is by volume. Or yes, I'm sorry, stable TVL, not volume, I should say. Technically, it's TVL, total value locked, is how they rank them. So it's not market cap necessarily. In fact, if I do it by market cap, Wrapped BNB is the top, followed by PayPay. That's where the Bobo comes in. The Bobo's on there too. So it's in terms of market cap. So that's like 120 billion, right? Am I right? 0.12 trillion. That'd be 100. How is it that much? That's wild. This is 3.3 billion for PayPay. Then we're talking 500 million on down, etc. Speaking of Gora, well, let's go back to the way we had it, to the way they market. Gora's still up there. So Gora might be coming on the channel next Saturday, the CEO of Gora. So keep an eye out for that. I know some of you asked about that, and I just kind of randomly reached out. I was going to see if they wanted to be on today, but some scheduling conflicts. So maybe next time. I might start doing that once in a while, just having people on. Yeah, like Nico's made it to the top 10. Notice you don't see Yieldly in here anymore. I think people finally had enough with Yieldly. I might bring that up in my talk about zombie coins, what that means, because I think people do get really, really attached to some of these, and I think I even saw that with Celsius. We'll kind of talk about that when we get to it. But even for Celsius, I saw some of that behavior where it's like people are saying, buy more, maybe it'll go up and save everything. I'm like, I don't know about that. Good luck. I didn't know that Daffy had a reward coin. That's already on the top. Well, I don't know if that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it is 10. Okay. Looked like more for some reason, but okay. Daffy rewards. Nikita Inu, that's like that's isn't that like Algorand's first meme coin? I think so. I think that's fair to say. Now, I covered these because you guys like them, you guys talk about them, but I've explained before, like I am not a fan of ASAs in general. I'm really careful how I use them because the price fluctuates so much, and what you see typically from these is they spike They launch, they spike, and then they drop like crazy, and then they kind of settle out. And then they kind of just like lose value over time, with exceptions. There's exceptions. Chips has been pretty solid. Chips and DeFi, I'd say, have been pretty solid. Opulus 2 is like it stayed in the top 4 for a long time. I think it was number 1 for a while. But yeah, the Oculus people, they're pretty mad at me because I made a video that I wasn't too happy about them leaving for, what was it, Avalanche? I think they left for Avalanche. And they were just going to stop building on Algorand. Like, I don't expanding multi-chain, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to Gora about, because they're expanding to EVM, but not leaving Algorand behind, and I think that's really important. Oh, geez, I forgot to switch it. Sorry, guys. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, so Wawawa asked, is Hedera really working with BlackRock, or is it just fake news? So I think I kind of explained this a little bit when I was going through it, but like, yes, they did work with BlackRock. BlackRock doesn't have a financial relationship with them, but they said in their initial tweet that they worked with them, and that initial tweet was reproved by BlackRock, so they didn't have a problem with that. What I think the conflict came in is when people thought partnership meant more than partnership. To me, is a wide range. It can be like a really, really loose relationship to something like really, really, where they're financially tied together. And I think this is on the looser end of partnership. But someone said, "Oh, it's not a partnership; it's a collaboration." Well, you partner up to collaborate. So I think we're getting into semantics and stuff. And I think I don't know that the semantic argument against saying it's a partnership is fake. Maybe it could be argued that we exaggerated, or we made it a bigger deal than it actually was. I don't know if I still think it's a big deal. So I would say it's true, but maybe some people overblew it. I think it's a big deal. I think it's cool. The price shot up irrationally, but that's how it goes. And then it came back down a little bit. Balsley says Algo has been the red for years, worse than the others. How can people defend Algo anymore? Tied to Hillary Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein. Also, okay, I don't. There was some partnership with the Clinton Foundation. I don't I don't think it ever had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, but lost my butt on Algo. It can go with the left in November. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it's still doing a lot of good stuff. That's why I'm. But yeah, the price action. I've said all along that the price action is bad, and people get mad at me when I say that. But I compared it, and this was about was it 3 months ago? I showed people like how bad the price action is on Algo. I'll show this one instead. Let's see. Everyday Algorand says, when I set some limit orders in crypto, the price level usually changes over that price. So it'd be better just to wait and manually trade, or set limit orders to real extremes. Yeah, so that's a pretty good point. It can go both ways. So you can both miss a pump. So it kind of depends. A lot of this depends, I would say, on how much time you have. If you're really busy and you don't have time to be checking the crypto prices, and you could set alert. I think there's ways to set price alerts on certain platforms too. So you could do it that way, as a sort of a signal to pay more attention. Like I've got a full-time job and I do this, and I have another side business. I'm actually hoping to do my businesses. I'm actually hoping to leave my full-time job at the end of, early next year. So, but in the meantime, yeah, I definitely don't have time to be scouring crypto prices. So for me to set limit orders helps me ladder up in my profit taking. It also helps me catch really good bottoms, because a lot of times what happens in crypto is you get these flashes. You might flash up to So it's possible I could have flashed up to 15 cents, hit the sale, but it would have been so fast I never would have gotten it manually, right? So that's pretty important. Something to keep in mind that you might, just because there's so if you have a lot of time to watch, if you have a lot of time to watch, like active trading, it's probably better to do it that way. But for me, it's much easier to do it through that. Olivier Frenchie, welcome to the show, by the way, says Hedera does marketing. One of the best things I think they do is their partnership with Karate Combat, and there's that P word again. But I really like the way that works because they actually use Hedera in the in the sport. Like whenever stats come up, it's like powered by Hedera. Like it'd be cool. Like even VeChain doesn't do that for the UFC. Like they should try to find a way to do that where it's like oh, this punch counter or significant strike counter is brought to you by VeChain or minted on VeChain or something like that. I really like how they do that, and I think it's been more effective than Algorand. Algorand promoting does the drone league thing, which I guess the drone league just sold. So and it's sold for like a little more than Algorand paid for the partnership. It's really crazy. I hope I saved that one. The one and only says to me, coins that have crappy inflation like XRP, Hedera are crap coins. Near Algo, ICP are coins I invested in are up big for me. Cardano is another one. Too much inflation. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Near. I'm pretty disappointed in XRP. XRP is one of the ones that's named as a zombie coin. I actually think might have a point. We'll get to that one. I really won't. I'm going to save some of my comments here just because that's a big one, I think. One only says Hedera will be good once their supply is reached. They're not all that far away. Here it says Jupiter launched a few months ago, huge on Solana. The airdrop was massive. Kind of makes some sense, I guess. Pyth is an interesting oracle. Jackson says I was buying Pendle in 2022 at 5 cents. It's been my best performer. What was that again? It's at the very bottom, wasn't it? I gotta look. Ooh, I just saw it. Just saw it. Oh, that's right. It was one of the top. Wait. No, it was one of those ones that was on the bottom, right? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna find it. Oh yeah, here it is. I'd say that did pretty good for you if it's at $5 right now. Small supply too. So what you see with these small supply coins is they tend to really jump in price. So if you can get them on the cheap, I think that's a pretty good buy. Interesting. Well, good for you, Jackson. Have you tried that knee game on Harmony? It looks like retro asteroids. No, I haven't. I'll have to keep that in mind. Everyday Algonaut says, I wonder if BlackRock has something working on Algorand. Do you know if BlackRock has application for spot ETH ETF? Oh, gosh, I don't. Let me see. Sounds like here we can look at this. This is from April 25th, so not too long ago. Deep dive into this investigation into recent news around BlackRock and Grayscale ETF applications. Discover the latest from the SEC. January ushered in the Bitcoin ETF. BlackRock amassing hefty 273,000 Bitcoin stash for their iShares at an eye-popping 18.18 billion. Blockbuster debut got investors itching for an Ethereum ETF. But true to form, the SEC just hit snooze pushing Ethereum ETFs further back. So they had filed an S3 for converting the ETH. Then the SEC delayed decisions on Franklin and Grayscale and Franklin. BlackRock filed amendment to their application. BlackRock Ethereum ETH impact on Ether. The behemoth with 10.5 trillion assets under management doesn't always get SEC's celebrity treatment. After filing an S1 application for a spot ETH ETF, that's really going to screw me up. A spot ETH ETF last November, BlackRock was forced to amend its focus on share creation and redemption mechanisms. Many investors predict an Ethereum ETF will be bigger for crypto than Bitcoin as it opens the floodgates for many other top protocols to get one. I can see that. An algo ETF would be. God, it's going to screw me up. An algo ETF would be pretty cool, or a HBAR one. Amidst uncertainty surrounding ETH ETFs, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust shines as a beacon of success, boasting 70 days of uninterrupted inflows. This remarkable streak catapults IBIT to the forefront of the U.S. spot ETF landscape, nestling it firmly among the top 10 ETFs for daily inflow streaks. Fake HBR, it wasn't fake. A fake real world asset story shook the crypto world last night. It wasn't fake. Oh, this makes me mad. Like wildfire, fake news of an HBR BlackRock RWA partnership sent. It wasn't fake. They have a comment. I'll have to comment on them later. Yeah, it bothers me when they call it fake. Like it may have been misinterpreted or it might have been overhyped, but it wasn't fake. It wasn't like it came out of nowhere. They did work with BlackRock on in developing their tokenized ETF. You know, if calling that a partnership is a little too far. Before there was a BTC Bitcoin spot ETF, the narrative was that BlackRock has never failed to apply for the ETF. I don't know what do you mean it's never failed to apply? I don't really understand that comment, but anyway, let me find which. I really hate. By the way, I really hate how I thought Twitter bookmarks was great. I loved how they did it. But they used to be it would display your bookmarks and then you click on the bookmark. You could click on the tweet and go to the tweet and all the threads and everything. Now it brings up this little sidebar. So if I want to go to the full thing, it's like this multi-step thing, or I have to copy and paste it. By the way, my dad, this is just kind of funny. I was having dinner with my parents last night, and my dad was saying like he was trying to send me this article, but it didn't have an email option. I'm like, "What? Can't you just copy and paste the link?" And he was like, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, "Oh shit." Okay, okay. I'm like, maybe I'll teach you sometime in person. uh, it just got me thinking. It got me thinking before I get into this. It just got me thinking like how much like computer technical knowledge that I take for granted that I have, that most of us, I'm sure like all of us, everyone watching this stream has that knowledge, but like not knowing how to copy and paste like a link was parents, you gotta love them. Well, they're the generation like that, they didn't grow up with this stuff, and I didn't really grow up with this stuff either. I didn't use the internet till I was a senior in high school for the first time. So, all right. Well, I want to talk about this. Here, I'm gonna Yeah, I want to talk about this story because I think it's really, really interesting. Essentially, it's saying it started from a Forbes article, but then this blog is kind of talking about the Forbes article, about zombie chains and why they stick around. And I think there's some legit points in it, but I also the coins they chose I thought were a little strange. So we're gonna look at this story and I'm kind of give my reaction to it because it actually kind of ticked me off a little bit. Let's see. So Laura Shin posted this. She's a crypto journalist, has a pretty big following. She says, why many zombie blockchains are still worth billions of dollars. Many blockchains are able to maintain huge valuations despite having minimal developer activity and usage. So I can see that. We'll get to some reactions in a second here. We find as having massive market caps with little usage, zombie blockchains have gigantic valuations for reasons other than their fundamentals. When a public company falters and is delisted to the penny stock arena, trading grinds to a halt and its valuation plummets as stockholders cut their losses and move on. Equities trade upon a set of near universal fundamentals that take the rise and fall of their company's fortunes into account. A cadre of blockchains, however, demonstrate that crypto loyalists have been playing by different rules, and what they're worth may have more in common with putting a price on a Chanel purse or a Hermes scarf. Referred to as zombie blockchains, these networks have minimal developer activity, few active wallet addresses. Keep this phrase in mind. This is going to be a really important phrase. Oops. Oh, come on. Referred to as zombie blockchains, these networks have minimal developer activity, few active wallet addresses, little transaction demand, or a combination of all three, yet are able to maintain massive valuations. Reasons appear to be a combination of their intangible qualities, longevity in surviving multiple crypto cycles, and the presence of loyal adherents avidly promoting their favorite networks. This, by the way, is really, really true. And I've said all along that they talk about fundamentals. Actually, from what I found, fundamentals aren't as important as this. It's the presence of loyal adherents avidly promoting their favorite networks. So, if you're wondering why something like Shiba Inu is way higher up on the market cap and seems to have better price action than something like Algorand, it's because of stuff like this. People just get really, really excited about certain coins. I don't know why. They apply to meme coins and meme coins take off. Let's skip ahead a little bit because they just kind of like go blah 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 blah. It's all the same. Okay, Forbes recently classified 20 blockchains as zombies based on the fact that they have had valuations of more than $1 billion. They had, not have, despite the fact that they are unproven and have little utility other than for speculative trading. Now, what are the 20 you might be expecting meme coins in this? It's XRP, Cardano, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Internet Computer Protocol, Ethereum Classic, Stellar, Stacks, Caspa, Phantom, Monero, Arweave, Algorand, Flow, Multiverse, Bitcoin SV, Mina is also in there, Tezos, Theta, and EOS. So EOS is the one that I've heard is pretty much a dead coin. They said representatives for 15 of these blockchains did not return Unchained's request for comment. We're going to get into that. It seems to kind of be untrue, actually, but we'll get to that. So this is why, and it's not just that Algorand is like Cardano is in there too. And while I think Cardano's development hasn't been as good as Algorand, I find it really odd for that to be in there. And the Monero's function is more about privacy. So I don't think its function is to be built on top of. I mean, I'm sure you can. I don't know much about the Monero ecosystem to be honest, but privacy coins, that's their function more than So to to look at them the same way seems kind of silly. Now I don't know about Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash. XRP's been a little disappointing. Internet Computer Protocol, though, that seems maybe like an odd one to include. And I was kind of surprised to see Mina Tezos too. I used to have a lot of Tezos, but I never really played around with the ecosystem much. But Algorand in particular, I thought was crazy. So I want to go back. I had, let me find this. All right, so this was mine. We're gonna get to the Algorand CMO had a reaction. We're gonna get to this. I said, "Do people who write about crypto actually know anything about crypto? I've highlighted plenty of problems with Algorand, plenty. But calling it a zombie chain when an entire airline is minting its tickets on chain, when one of the few active and functioning blockchain real estate companies is operating on it, when an entire payment service in Afghanistan is operating on it, when the Red Cross is building its disaster relief wallet on it, when the Bank of Italy is settling its insurance layer on the chain, and it's being tested by the Bank of Europe for settlement, then when you call it a zombie chain, I don't know what the F you're talking about." I think it's crazy. Now, you could argue, before I even look at the comments, I bet there's one at least because I haven't looked at my comments in a while. As you can see, some days I just don't want to deal with it. Um, I know that I sound like a pro algo person, but I would have made the same if they included Hedera on, which Hedera is basically Algorand, but not quite as but newer, but also like they probably developed a little faster than Algorand, if I'm being honest. In some cases, they have a real estate platform too, but as far as I can tell, it's not live yet. But I don't know how. I listen. It's totally legitimate to say Algorand should be farther along than it is, but to call it, we looked at active monthly active users too. Algorand ranks at one of the higher ones, so it's wild. Let's see if I got any. Laura's OG showroom laps around you, except make an actual argument. Function of price action. Well, seems like a hit piece. Marv all over it. Yeah. um. Okay, so let's go to that because big fan of the okay, so Marv, this is or Mark, I can never remember his actual name. But this is the CMO of Algorand, the chief marketing officer, the new one, who I think is doing pretty well so far. So he said, "Big fan of the show, not so much of this article, and we're disappointed we didn't get a chance to react. Always happy to come on your show and talk about this and more important topics like how we're mainstreaming blockchain development with our native Python implementation. Oh, and the zombies are biting back and hosting an X tomorrow with participation from Algorand Foundation. And this is Charles. This is Cardano, Tezos, ETC Cooperative. What is ETC? Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin Cash. Highly recommend it. And Mars Comic is dropping a free mint as a memento." Oh, Sage actually responded. He said, hey, Mark, it's Sage. The reporter wrote this piece. I get you. I'm also disappointed that y'all didn't get a chance to react because I did reach out to Algo Foundation on Twitter, but didn't receive a response. Still open to chatting. Hey, Sage, thanks for the reaction. We'll be in touch. Sorry for missing your message on X. Unfortunately, it's very hard for us to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. We get a lot of fake stuff in our inbox. Regular press channels are a more reliable way of reaching us. Okay, so I don't think he's kind of just saying, he's just saying like, hey, maybe that's not the best way to get a hold of it. But I've been reached out to by the foundation on their Twitter account, so they clearly use it that way. Um They've got a lot of people working on this stuff. Like when I set up my last interview with John Allen Woods, I had to go through like 3 I had to deal with 2 people, separate people helping the schedule, which I thought was insane. But anyway, JT says, I don't even know how a reporter from one of the biggest crypto news outlets thought a simple DM from an account with 1.2 thousand followers without any prior comms would think a DM like this would be assumed to be a scam. Kind of amazing, to be honest. So by request, you mean a DM from a random account on one of the most spammed social network. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of sympathetic towards this because this is something I do for a living, and I've had it multiple times where I've reached out through what I think is the official channel, and then someone would be like, "Oh, well, you didn't respond it in this way or that way." It's like, well, but that's different for everybody. So I think if you're gonna have a Twitter account, and listen, like when I reach out to people through their Twitter, most of the time they get back to me. I think it's actually one of the better ways to do it. So I don't, and I like, yeah, I'm glad to see JT's back in the game. But I don't agree with him here. I think a DM. I think you could do a pretty quick check to find that. You could do a pretty quick check to find that it's legit and not a scam. So I think they were just a little asleep at the wheel, and I don't know when did they post that? Let me see if there's a date on it. Posted on the 25th, and they reached out on the he reached out. So he came 10 days, dude. He went 10 days. It's not so he gave him a lot of time. I don't I think that part is probably legit, but what I disagree with is is the characterization for all the reasons I just said. Geez, how far back is my thing? The fact that we are on, an airline, calling it a zombie chain, I think is just such a joke. It's such a joke. Where does the information come from? And they don't cite any data for why they think it's a zombie chain. Because I would like to see it. Like you give like general comments, but you don't say like, "Hey, here's 3 reasons why we think it's a zombie chain. Here's the monthly active users. Here's the developers, hardly any. Here's this and that." Those all could have been used to make a case, but no case was made. And like I said, I mean, if you're talking about price action, yeah, Algorand is it's been a rough go of it. Like its price action sucks. I'll say it out loud. I've said that many, many times before. It's not good. Okay. So I'm not defending it from that angle. Um, and I know since I have the .algo, I'm actually thinking about removing that. One of the only reasons I don't is because my loyalty to non-fungible domains, who I think is doing great work. It's the only reason I leave it on there. But I'm thinking about taking it out because I'm really starting to cover other stuff like Hedera and Sui. And also because when you defend it, then people go, "Oh, you're just an algo guy, so of course you're going to defend it." But I think I made a pretty good case, and I love this one. Just says, "Oh, Laura will run laps around you." Okay, well, where's the data? Yeah, interesting. I just find it funny when I like I post actual data, and they're like, "Oh, they could run circles around you." Well, they didn't. I mean, open invitation to make your case, but you didn't actually make a case. So anyway, I think that stuff is interesting, but it really ticks me off. All right. Well, let's see what people are saying. Already, Algonaut says everybody smash the like button, support Frugal. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So I wonder if they applied to spot ETH ETF and it'll be a second failed, or when is the deadline to approve it? Well, it sounds like there's the last thing we just read is that there's like this SEC holdup. So they filed an amendment is the latest thing after the SEC like had some issues with the way they were structuring their thing. So I'm gonna have to respond to those at some point. Let's see what else we got. Well, furthering it, hold on. Breaking users perform more transactions on Algorand in the first 4 months of 2024 than all of 2023 combined. I'm going to read that again. More users perform more transactions on Algorand in the first 4 months of 2024 than all of 2023 combined. Again, how is that a zombie chain? How is it a zombie chain? It's not. How is it a zombie chain if transactions are growing? Listen, I could if it was going the other way, I could totally understand if all these like projects were falling apart and you know there was all this promise, but that promise wasn't being fulfilled. I would totally get calling it a zombie chain. And I'm just sticking with Algorand because I know it the most. If they had listed Hedera on there, I probably could make that case as well. But I don't understand why Algorand's on the list, and it didn't really make a case for any of them. I think going through even a few of them, even if it wasn't Algorand, they went through a few others and said, "Well, let me see, is it really a zombie? Let's look at some of these metrics." They don't cite any metrics. It's just kind of pathetic. Shifting gears a little bit. There's a pretty cool game coming out for Sui that I just wanted to show you guys quick. I don't know how long we're gonna. It might be kind of a short. Might be kind of a short stream today, but I don't know. I think. Well, I put out another question too about Sui. So let's just start off with this news about Sui. So, this is Society with like an X instead of an S. A AAA pop shooter with RPG progression powered by PND official and Surgeons IO is the key links. But AAA pop shooter featuring RPG elements, dynamic player versus player, and immersive player versus what is PVE? Player versus everyone? Not computer environment, maybe environment. I know PvP. I understand that player versus player. You guys know PvE? Let me know. Anyway, it's coming to Sui. It's part of Society's intentional push to make AAA Web3 gaming mainstream. They're partnering with Miston Labs to launch on Sui by the end of the year. We can actually see a little more here. Endus Interactive teams up with Miston Labs to make Sui-based Web3 game. Through the partnership, NDS Interactive will launch Society on Sui with the full support of Miston Labs. Endus Interactive is eager for players to play and experience Society across Sui offline and online events. The game is expected to go into early access of Q4 of 2024. So at the end of the year, we'll see early access. Full public game sessions will be offered every quarter and every week for the Sui community. Society gameplay includes PvE, PvP, PvE, and UGC. I wish they just spelled it out. Game integrations include dynamic and nestable NFTs. The game is a pop shooter featuring RPG elements, dynamic PvP, immersive I'm guessing player versus environment experiences on Web3 platform. They would mention that. Yeah. Oh, player versus everyday Algonaut says player versus environment. That's kind of what I thought. So the team includes Myung Jin Lee, creative artist and author of Ragnarok original. Sang Chung, business director, former head of PlayDAP, the first Korean Web3 company to list on Coinbase and Binance, and Jeffrey Kim, lead director with 20 years experience at NCSoft and Nexon. So like the art looks cool. I wish we could see more about like the gameplay and stuff, but it sounds like it's pretty early stage yet, I think. Just seeing if I can find oh yeah, here we go. So that looks a lot like yeah, kind of like an Overwatch style, run around. But you can see the character. Actually, can't you see the character in Overwatch? I don't know. I never played it. That was one of the games that almost made me get a PS4, but I play games so infrequently that I just couldn't justify buying one. But I don't know. That looks pretty cool. What's the gallery show us? I don't know. Looks like it'd be a fun game. I like the looks very colorful. I like this kind of stuff where it's really creative. I'm not a big like Call of Duty fan, or I just don't like realism. I got real life is real enough. I like some I don't know, it's like I like how this looks kind of funky and bright, colorful and fun. Looks like a cool game. All right, well that's cool. So along those lines I kind of asked like what I kind of asked like why does it seem like there's so many games on Sui already? Because it's been like it's Sui's barely been around a year, and it has all these games live on it you can download and play. And it seems like the development has been way faster on Sui than Algorand. So I actually asked the question. I thought the answers were kind of interesting. Let me just pull this up a second. Might have to do a little digging. Here it is. I said, I've been really surprised to learn how many games are live on Sui already, considering it's only 1 year old. And I think of all the games that failed to launch in Algorand, why, how, where's the disparity coming from? Not rhetorical. I really want to know. Shosha Millionaire says Algorand does have a few games that seem to be succeeding or capable. Shosha, that's not out yet. Cosmic Champs, which is out and playable. Ghetto Pigeons actually is live, so fair enough. Cosmic Champ, and then Fractal Labs is out and playing. That's the one I always think of. Big fan of Cosmic Champs or Fractal Monsters. They are on my. What else did he say? Algo Zone. Oh, see, Zone's kind of one of the failures though. Zone kind of turned into a zombie, and Algo Casino is more like gambling. I don't really consider that a game, but I get it. Isn't Algo Leagues? And by the way, I don't count Discord games. I don't. That's not. Those aren't games to me. I'm sorry. But yeah, I did forget about Ghetto Pigeons. You have to buy one of their pigeons to play, but it looks like kind of fun. I think you can play. Maybe you can play with Cosmic Champs too or something. I don't. I have to look into that. But when I look at like the cooldown, it used to be Algo Gaming Guild. Now they changed it to cooldown because they're covering like Beam and Sui and XRP. There's a lot more games on they have a lot more game news on Beam and Sweet than they do for Algorand. So Ghetto Pigeons, they chimed in. See, this person hoping Zone actually comes back with something big. I thought they had potential, but they've been silent for a long time. Alchemon, yep, that was a failure. I showed a few. Games that failed just didn't hook gamers or have just a product of grant platform that was not good in the first place, too hard, too rugged hard. Also, I think Sui is really targeting itself as a gaming platform, which is cool. That's true. He says, I'm sure that they had their failures too. Algorand some good games though. Yeah, but they've had so many that are live right now in a year's time. It's really fast. Eno says marketing professionalism. Algorand doesn't have a good strategy, and marketing professionalism is lacking pretty badly. I just think about the Nike tweet and the hack wallet. My algo wallet hack was not good. He says that was their manos dediamente. Says that was their focus from the start. While Algorand was all over the place. Yeah. Algorand is missing Python, which it has. But no one else had Python either. We talked about ICP and how they through WebAssembly allow Python, but it's not pure Python. Although the difference seems to be like a few lines of code. I don't know how. It wasn't really convincing that it was that big of a deal, but it says an intriguing observation. The reasons behind the success of some games on Sui compared to others on Algorand can be multifaceted. It could be the effect of just varied marketing strategies, game quality, user engagement. But they launched. That's the point I'm making. It's not like how they've done. It's that they launched. Like Gunny still hasn't launched. It's in beta, or maybe even alpha. It was in alpha when I was trying it out. Who's gaming? Is it sustainable? What are the age groups? Well, this is another question, but this is not the question I asked. Like maybe it's not the best thing. I'm just saying why does so many games are already live on a chain that's like less than a year old, or it might be about a year old now, whereas Algorand's been out for years and years, and these games just like never seem to materialize. Some of them have, but not very many. Sui is focusing on that market segment. This person says Sui is backing large VC funds. You ask these questions, when people give you answers you don't want to hear, just ignore it and sit there wondering why algorithm. Well, what I'm not going to respond to everybody. There's a lot of people. Like I'm just going to sit on here. Algo is 5 years. It's only went in reverse in market cap. It sucks until it proves me wrong. Gaming narrative with crypto is very weak. In my opinion, crypto games are scams most of the time. Like I said, that's a whole other question. Yeah, Stacy, because she is such a visionary, shaking her ideologue with the ESG cup. It's not Jaws, Mark, or the T-economics. Sui has the same supply, but has a narrative following price. That's energy and youthfulness. Stacy's one of the problems. Community matters. Maybe. Do people think I'm just going to sit here? Like this got a lot of responses, but there's no way I can respond to them all. Otherwise, I'd just be sitting on. It's like I have a job, guys. I could sit on Algorand, or I could sit on Twitter all day. People. Anyway, I think that's interesting. Oh shoot, I wasn't sharing that. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see the limits of my depth of field. It's kind of set for me to be back here and not up front, but I have anything else interesting? Actually, hold on. I thought this was interesting. This was here we go. I thought this was interesting from Max Walker Williams. I kind of talked about this in my follow-up video, but some people were asking. He said, "Okay, This was in response to good morning, everyone except desperate Hedera bag holders. Max Walker Williams says, we're not desperate, we're just disappointed. The announcement was clear that BlackRock's ICS US Treasury Market Fund is being tokenized on Hedera. BlackRock were aware and happy to have their name associated with the press release. This is a big one for crypto and especially Hedera. You, Cointelegraph, were given the announcement and all the associated information 1 week before it was announced, decided not to run the story. So why would you want to highlight this historic moment for all of crypto? Okay, this is maybe a little histrionic, but or a little, it's a little overwrought, but yeah, like you get the story a week ahead of time and you don't run it, and then you're gonna come on the back end and you know, crap on it and be like, oh, it was fake news. It's I don't know. I normally don't buy these narratives of like, oh, news organization is trying to suppress this narrative, but in this case, it's like they actually got the announcement ahead of time and they're not doing anything. Why? Once the story went live, you decided to twist what was said and release several negative stories that weren't true by your own admission, being as you deleted them, and since doubled down on quoting supposed unknown sources at BlackRock. You didn't highlight what is true, you only highlighted what isn't, but that was never said in the first place. You're not calling people who own HBAR desperate. Yeah, I mean, just because we're excited about this, the working hand in hand with BlackRock, like that seems like a big deal, right? That means BlackRock's taking Hedera seriously. I think that matters. And then people, Cointelegraph to be like, "Well, there's no financial relationship." Well, no one said there was. Nobody said there was. Not this channel. Not Max Walker Williams. Not Hedera. Nobody said there was one. They're calling it a pay-to-play organization. Probably true. Says they should be sued for slander. Well, it actually would be defamation, and yeah, you're not going to win a defamation case. It may be crappy journalism, but crappy journalism isn't defamation. To meet the elements of defamation, you have to prove that it's what you printed was untrue, which first off, what they printed was true. They just didn't tell you the whole story. They said, to actually be it'd have to be verifiably false. Like if they said that there was no financial partnership, well, there isn't, but they never said there was. But if they had said, well, there's no partnership at all, they never talked to them, Hedera could say, well, actually, yeah, we did. We can prove that it's true. But then you also have to prove malice. You have to prove malice, and I don't think that's going to happen here. I do think it's interesting though. Clown Telegraph. I just don't take a lot of these crypto publications too seriously. You are a blessing for the community. I'm just seeing if there's anything interesting here. They're useless when you're. Yeah, it's just people agreeing with him, which I agree with him too. I thought that was well put. Everybody got quiet in the chat all of a sudden. Let's see what else there's going on. Might be like a shorter stream today. I got one for you. Oh, here we go. Everyday Algonaut says, Frugal, do you know why Algo price pumped to 27 cents this week? Yeah, it was kind of weird. It pumped up. Did it get to 27 cents? I didn't remember quite that high. I mean, it might have been a super flash, but it did get up to about 26 cents. I actually don't know, but what I saw here, hold on a second. It did get up to 26 cents on what was that? What was the 24th? Was that Monday? Then it came back down, and this is the one I noticed where this is right after the Hedera news. And then it came back down, but it was like right after Hedera pumped, and then all of a sudden Algorand pumped right afterwards. And like I couldn't figure out why. I'll be honest, I have no idea why stuff pumps sometimes. He says it was 26.44 on Binance. Olivia Frenchie says, what market cap for Algo to reach all-time high? I don't want to do I don't want to do math right now. I'm like really wore out. All right, hold on, hold on. Also, which all-time high? Do you mean like its botched launch price at $3, or are we talking like? See, it's like at 220. I've heard people say like its high was like 289, but that flash stuff, I don't. More sustainably, I think it was about 220 at the peak. Yeah, about 220. It was like 220 something. So 220. I can't do public math right now. I'll answer that next time. I'm sure that's a very disappointing answer, but I just my brain is not ready to work on that right now. Actually, I think we're gonna call it a day. Xavier's like, fine. Um, yep, I think that's it for me today. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you one more time to RL for the super chat. Very much appreciate that. And hope you guys are doing well today. I think like I said, for Bitcoin, we're probably talking a couple few months before we'll start seeing some price pop off, and then the altcoins I'm expecting a little later. So everyday Algonaut says 299 was max on Binance. But are they counting the flash? I just don't. If it just peaks up there for like a split second, that just doesn't count for me. For me, it's more like did sustain for a little while. In other words, would it be a real candle, or would it be one of those little like half invisible candles? Olivia French, she says, "Good show like always." I appreciate that, my friend. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, you all hang in there. Stay safe, and I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you in the future.